What is going on? How y'all doing out there on a Friday, May 20th here in the ATL, all around the ATL, as some of us suburb people say. Everybody doing all right? Good to see everyone in Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube. Thank you all again for joining us. We appreciate it. And thank you very much. Also simulcasting in Atlanta Bird Gang. How's everyone doing out there? Cool. This is that time of season, and we always talk about it, right after the draft, where you kind of have that dead period of time when sometimes we might be guilty of overanalyzing, oversimplifying, undersimplifying, maybe paying too much attention to certain things and not looking big picture as Falcon fans. And I don't try to come at anybody with, I'm not the guy if you're going to start talking about how many people bench press this and what kind of technique he uses or whatever. I'm big Falcon fan. That's what your unk is. Yeah, I'm a big Falcon fan, and that's how I roll. The Desmond Ritter thing. I am, very excited about the prospects of having someone new come in and be the quarterback of this team. It's not because of hate for the former quarterback. It's not any of that mess. I know a lot of people love that narrative. Oh, yeah, everybody just hated Matt Ryan so bad. No, I don't think it's a hate it so bad thing. I always try to equate it to when you have your car and your car looks good, runs good at the very beginning. Then after a while, you start seeing some flaws. And then near the end, you're just trying to get the Kelly Blue Book value out of what you have before it completely breaks down on you. Now, I'm not trying to say Matt Ryan was absolutely, positively, totally done. But at the same time, it's good to usher in a new era with some new faces, younger faces, new blood, new coaching staff. Just to see if what it would look like to have a different vibration in the room, a different vibe going on. And Matt Ryan provided this team with stable leadership throughout his career. Again, stayed out of the papers, stayed out of the news, just basically straight down the line. But after a certain time, you kind of move on. So this Well, last year, of course, we knew we had the opportunity to get these quarterbacks. Well, this year, we had a chance to get quarterbacks as well. Now, this year, the talent pool is not graded out as being as good as last year, but there was a little bit of talk between the Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ritter, Malik Willis, Matt Corral type thing that who you were going to take. Well, we ended up taking Desmond Ritter, and Desmond Ritter so far has said everything you're supposed to say, has pretty much, you know, done what you're supposed to do as a young quarterback coming into the NFL in his first organization. He made the little controversial story, I'm not leaving until we have a Super Bowl, all that stuff, which is great. I'm glad the young man has confidence. You don't want anybody coming in saying, well, I'm not sure if I can unseat Marcus Mariota. You want somebody who's going to come in and try to, from the jump, try to get these young guys' attention. This is a younger team. It's a younger team with some very strategically placed vets that are going to try to do something in 2022 that a lot of people aren't picking. I've seen prognosticators go as low as 3-14 this year. But Arthur Smith, I think, after we saw what he did with this roster last year and squeezed out those 7 wins, there's something about it telling me that I have a feeling he might have something to say about that. And this Desmond Ritter, is he the answer? I mean, I hope so. I hope Marcus Mariota is the answer, to be honest with you, as long as one of them is successful. But I'm putting the bullseye on Desmond Ritter because Marcus Mariota had the opportunity and, of course, ended up going to the Raiders after the Tennessee stint and a serviceable backup for Derek Carr. So I tend to look at what Ritter has to offer. And to me, when I start thinking about, what as a youthful guy who is full of let's go get it, let's go in and change the culture. I love it because I think that's how you need to start. You need to start by getting people's attention. You really do. But are we excited because it's Ritter, or are we excited because it's just a new quarterback? Period. It depends on what day it is. When you ask me, there are days when I look and I say, "Man, that young man looked like he's going to be pretty good." And then there are other days where I say, "Man, am I just happy that we have somebody else in here to run the show?" Depends. What do you all think? As I'm looking down here on my thing, and I got the man's name spelled wrong in here. I just realized that. Well, you know what that was? I think that's the spell check. The spell check in this thing is pretty bad. Let me take this off the screen, and then I will address some of the questions. I see a couple of people already chiming in. Feel free, be here for a little bit. There we go. How about instead of before we start talking about him, how about we spell the man's name right? How about we do that? All right, let's start from the beginning. What's going on, Tobias? How you doing? Tobias says, "What up, Uncle Steve? Been waiting for this day to have a quarterback competition. So excited for this season." Quarterback competition. Because you think about it, we have not brought a lot of quarterbacks in here to literally push Matt. We brought quarterbacks in here to assist Matt. Yeah, this is exciting for a fan base. to get something new, to get something new in. I love it. I think that's great. What's going on, Mo? How you doing, my friend? Good to see you in the house. Lisa, I see you out there. How you doing, ma'am? Lisa also says, I'm excited about the change. I didn't know about Ritter, so I wasn't necessarily excited specifically about him at first. Now that he's here, go Ritter. And you know, I definitely did not know a lot about the young man. I'm not going to sit here and try to, like I said, I know there are a lot of people that uh, media, but I know they have the stats up here for him. You look at what he's done from 2018 to 2021. I think what sticks out to me a lot is his last couple of years, especially his senior year, where he had a 64% completion average. I love that. 30 touchdowns, didn't give the ball away at an alarming rate. 30-8 is not bad. Rushing, again, I'm not looking for him to take the rush running back job, but I am looking for somebody who can, you know, do some things as with their legs instead of stand there. 6'3", 211, very good shape. 4.5 in the 40-yard dash. Everybody can't be Mike Vick, but I like 4.5. So when you start looking at things like that, it's exciting because we haven't had a quarterback like that before. So I love it. I love the opportunity to give somebody else a chance in here. Um, what's going on, Rusty? How you doing, my friend? What is going on? Tobias says he got 7 wins without a quarterback that fit his system. He did a great job, in my opinion, for his first season in the situation they were put in. I like Arthur Smith, man. I like Arthur Smith because Arthur Smith doesn't seem like he's somebody that's just going to cow down to media play and stuff like that. He seems like somebody who is all about the winning. He's not about the nonsense, and I like that. I like the fact that he's kind of doesn't care what the outside is saying. Arthur Smith looks like he's somebody that is ready to win, and I like that. Tobias says both. I'm straddling the fence on this one as far as um, are we happy a Ritter or are we happy just to have a new quarterback? That's legit. Rusty says I went over the schedule and looked at every game without my Falcons glasses on, and I came away 9-8, best case scenario, or 7-10, worst case scenario. For what it's worth, I always split the division games unless a team is really good like Tampa. I'm trying to see what else you have down here. For some reason, it is like Tampa. I automatically chalk that up to 2 losses. We are splitting with Carolina and New Orleans, most likely. Yeah, I can see that too. I can definitely see where that would be the Carolina. I just don't think I'm not feeling New Orleans. And it's funny. I've been talking to a lot of New Orleans fans lately. The New Orleans fans aren't feeling New Orleans, even though I know they did load up at wide receiver. They did a great. Excuse me. I think we do. So why not? Let's see what ends up happening. Let's see. I'll pull it down. Rusty says, I have a question for you, Steve. Let's see. I have a question for you, Steve. Do you feel any better about the team after the draft? And if so, how much better? I know you can't judge a draft class for 2 to 3 years, but I have a better vibe coming out of the draft than I did before. I think this year the vibe is different because you saw more needs this year. When you think about last year, even though um, we went through the first part saying to ourselves, okay, we know we need to get younger and probably improve for the future, and we went out and drafted a tight end. I think that was a little worrisome for me. Then we went on and we drafted Jalen Mayfield down the line, and we draft Grant at safety, which we did need safety help. But I think last year I felt like we were just reaching. This year it seemed like we went for need. I know a lot of people weren't happy about Drake London and that pick and having a wide receiver. I was. I think it was a listen. I'm not saying he would have been my first pick, but I do feel like that was a need. We talked about needs. We talked about needs. Everybody um, was upset about wide receiver, but guess what, y'all? We didn't have any wide receivers. So how can you get mad at that? I thought it was a great. I thought it was a great pick. Shamari says a real coach. Yeah, absolutely. Rusty says screen went blue. Yeah, I don't know what happened, Rusty. My spectrum is acting a fool today, but I think I'm back in the house. Mike Bailey says I'm happy to have Ritter on. Yeah, I think the young man is good, and as we've been fooled before from a lot of chatter, um, I want to see it on the field. So as long as I see, you know, these guys putting all that bravado and all the talk on the field, I'm fine. I love the different from Tack McKinley, different from trying to think who else am I talking about that was talking a lot. Marlon Davidson kind of chomped a lot at when they did his first interview. When you start talking about speaking before you've actually done anything, in Tack's case, in Marlon's case, that was bravado talk. I think when there were people that were zeroing in on Desmond Ritter. Remember when they had the video of him getting the call from Terry Fontenot that he was going to be picked, and he was like, it took too long, and I'm paraphrasing, he took too long, and all of that, and Terry was saying, well, it's for a reason, and Terry encapsulated in that thing, said, yeah, if you were all that, you would have been gone in the early first round. But now you have something to play for. Now you have something to prove. I love the video of that because what that showed me was he was very upset. And you can't go to Josh Rosen route. You can't go well, all these teams are going to pay. Well, all the teams passed you over 2 times, and some of them 3. So when you go to that, it doesn't make any sense. I'm going to make all of them pay. You're going to make them pay twice? Because you didn't go to the 3rd round. Late at that. So maybe all of that can be redirected and hopefully he can, move in a good place. Mike says we've been fooled. We've been fooled, but I love his confidence. Myself as well. Again, I don't mind confident guys. And there's nothing wrong with folks being confident and speaking out and you know, raw and all that stuff. But just translate that to the field too. Translate that to the field. I didn't hear a word of anything from Aaron Donald when he first came in the league. Nothing. Nothing. I knew he was a good draft pick, but all he did was tackle folks and stop and destroy offensive lines. I didn't hear all the bravado. I didn't hear all the mess. Just go out there and get the job done. So I'm one of those people that love to see people go out and literally put it on the field. I think Ritter can be one of those guys. I think he can. Will this Atlanta fan base embrace him? Do you know, even almost 2 months later, and I'm not expecting it to end, you still have some of these folks that are still sad, basically emotion filled, talking about the loss of Matt Ryan. And Matt Ryan is fine. Matt Ryan is living it up in Indy, ready to make a run in the AFC South. He's not thinking about Atlanta right now. There are some fans out there that think Matt Ryan is sitting home in bed and looks over and says, Sarah, those Atlanta fans need me. We need to go. But he ain't thinking about Atlanta. So we should be thinking about him. Just move on. Mike Bailey says silent killer. Yeah. So I just feel like there's a time when you should go ahead and move on to the next phase. Matt Ryan did it. He's gone. The Falcons are going to do it. Move on. Take some of these young guys. Listen, I am very impressed. I mean, this wide receiver, these wide receiver pickups we're making are very intriguing. And they got the young man from the Raiders, got Geronimo Allison, Alden Tate. Everybody's stuck on height. All of these guys, and none of these guys are perennial YR1s, YRWR1s. These guys are mostly second tier wide receivers. I am expecting nothing less than to see Drake London at the number one position for the Falcons this year when you start talking about starting at the beginning of the year wide receiver. I expect to see Drake London on one side. The other battle is going to be for who's second and probably third. Norman, what's going on? Norman says, happy to have a new quarterback. Move on. That's and if you're like me, Norman, it's not shade. I know a lot of folks like that stuff. The drama of it. Oh, we just don't like Matt anymore. He's just not. It had nothing to do with that. Sometimes it's just about switching things up. Sometimes you cut your grass and you go straight up and down the line, and then the next time you do it side to side. Why? For no other reason. Switch it up a little bit. Sometimes you go to work straight down the highway and no traffic just to go that way. And other times, you know what? I get off just to make it a different route. Sometimes it's just about trying something different. I think it's been a long time since his the organization has done it. And as a fan, I don't really care how we get there. If Arthur Smith runs a 5-quarterback system where 5 quarterbacks get in and we're 10-7, I don't care. I'm not that particular about how we get the wins. Just get the wins. I keep hearing all of these, when we start talking about 2021, which was putrid in some areas. We had a bad offensive line. Our wide receiver situation, unfortunately, just dissolved right in our face for one reason or another. The defense at times just looked comical. Well, now you see they're making a couple of moves, bringing Hayward in on the other side at cornerback, bringing in some legitimate prospects on the defensive line to generate some semblance of a pass rush. Things that I just haven't seen us do or emphasize. And it looks like Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot have a plan. And I saw the ridiculous notion somebody was saying, and I'm trying to think, was that in the group or not, and saying, well, if Arthur Smith wins like 3 or 4 games, he needs to get fired. For what? You were given a talentless roster basically in 2021 and told, make something of it. I don't know if a lot of you know, some of the folks that are in here were in the Army. We used to have the little ramen noodles. And I never forget when we had the ramen noodles, when we were out in the field or you know, in Kuwait or wherever we were. You would find ways to make that beef ramen taste as good as you could, whether that meant mixing some vegetables that were in something else or putting extra salt in there, but you did whatever you had to do to make the product be up to your standards or up to your taste. That's what it is for this Falcons club right now. I don't care who the number 1 running back is. I don't care whether it's Damian Williams. I don't care whether it's Cordero Patterson. I don't care if it's the rookie Algiers. I don't care if it's even Allison. But as long as we have a steady running game, that's what I'm looking forward to. We need to run the ball. The offensive line of all the groups, probably the most disappointing group last year. Do I think they're going to be that much worse this year? I don't think so. Jalen Mayfield, it wouldn't shock me if he turned a 180 and be one of the best offensive guards in the game, because he got thrown into the fire. And the one thing you can say is he got tested. And I think we have a nice little run there between the Rams, the Chargers, and a few other teams in there, Cincinnati, where we're going to be going up against some top-notch defenses. I think he has an opportunity to turn around. He's a year in. This is his 2nd year. Almost good form, because now you know what you're going to have to deal with. We didn't know how he was coming into this year. I didn't know how he was going to respond. But I remember Coach Smith even